So, how does a haunting go from just some spooky noises to something that could actually be life-threatening? Well, we're about to dive into a case that even famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren called one of their most dangerous. This is the terrifying story of the Donovan family. This quote, it really gets to the heart of the Donovan story. They thought they were just a normal family, moving into what seemed like a perfect new home. Life was quiet. But that quiet was about to be absolutely shattered. Right. So you'd think the story starts with the creepy old house, wouldn't you? But nope. The real starting point here, it was something way more personal. It all began with a lonely teenager and what she thought was just a harmless game. So let me introduce you to Patty Donovan. She's 19 and she's having a really tough time. Just moved to a new neighborhood, doesn't have any friends yet, and feels like her parents are super strict. She's just lonely. And in that search for a connection, for literally anyone to talk to, she brings home a Ouija board. And with that, she unknowingly opens a door to something, well, something way, way worse than loneliness. So picture this. She's alone in her room, hands on that planchette, and she asks that classic, simple question that would just change everything. Is anyone there? And at first, she probably figured it was just her, right? Her own hands moving it. But then it starts to spell something out. Yes. Can you imagine that feeling? For Patty, this must have been absolutely electrifying. It was real. So the board tells her it's the spirit of a 19-year-old boy. I mean, someone her own age, she's probably so excited. So she asks the next logical question, right? Will you be my friend? But this spirit, it had something else in mind entirely. The planchette doesn't spell out friend. It spells out boyfriend. And just like that, it starts preying on all her insecurities, telling her everything a lonely teenager wants to hear. For Patty, this felt like a dream come true. She finally felt special, totally clueless that she was being masterfully manipulated. So this goes on for weeks, this weird little Ouija board romance. But then, one day, Patty gets brave. She makes a request that changes the whole game. She asks the spirit to show itself. And in that instance, the vibe just shifts. The lights flicker, the room gets cold, the planchette freezes solid. The fun was over. The real haunting was just getting started. So with that door now kicked wide open, this entity, it starts to bleed into the real world. And the family's life goes from normal to a living nightmare, like overnight. And look how quickly things escalated. I mean, it starts with knocking inside the walls. Okay, weird, but maybe you try to explain it away, right? Old house, pipes, whatever. But then comes this disgusting, foul smell of rot and sulfur that you just can't ignore. And the final terrifying straw? A thick, red liquid, looking just like blood, starts pouring out of the faucets. At that point, there's no denying it. Something is seriously, horribly wrong in this house. And it all just exploded on the night of March 31st. The family's just trying to have a normal night, watching TV, and the house basically goes insane. We're talking a massive dresser weighing hundreds of pounds, levitating and spinning in the air. Chairs, pictures just floating around. A black shadow crawls across the walls, and this deep, guttural growl fills the entire house. They do what anyone would do. They get out. They run to a hotel, just desperate to be safe. But, and this is a huge clue, the activity followed them. This was never about the house. It was about them. So they're terrified they can't go home, and this thing is following them. They make a phone call to the one couple who might actually believe them, Ed and Lorraine Warren. And the second the Warrens walk through that front door, they feel it. Ed even said the atmosphere was just suffocating. It wasn't just a feeling either. Ed does this little test, a kind of provocative challenge. He knocks twice on a wall, and 2 loud knocks answer right back from inside. Okay, yeah, something intelligent was definitely in there, and it was waiting. And this is where the Warrens' experience really shines. See, a normal haunting is usually tied to a place. It's a ghost in a house. But this thing, it followed the Donovans to a hotel. Lorraine, with her clairvoyance, confirmed it right away. It wasn't attached to the house. It was attached to the family. And in the Warrens' world, that's not a haunting. That is an infestation. So the Warrens lay it all out, and their diagnosis is absolutely chilling. A demonic infestation. This wasn't some lost human soul. This was something inhuman. It had targeted Patty's loneliness, pretended to be a teenage boyfriend, all to get one thing: an invitation. And once it had that invitation, it latched onto her. Its goal: terror, manipulation, and eventually, full possession. Okay, so when you're up against something demonic that's trying to possess someone, there's really only one move left. You can't just run from it. You have to face it head on. And that meant bringing in the big guns, the dangerous, ancient ritual of an exorcism. The house literally becomes a spiritual war zone. The priest starts the rites, and the entity fights back with everything it has. The room turns freezing cold, windows shatter, and that black shadow shows up again, but this time it shoots right into Patty. She levitates off the ground, her eyes turn blood red, she's fully possessed. It's a full-on battle, and at the very peak of the ritual, this horrifying scream tears through the room as Patty's body is thrown like a rag doll 5 feet into a wall. And then she collapses, unconscious. And then, just silence. The chaos, the violence, the energy, it all just vanished. Just as quickly as it started. In that sudden, deafening quiet, you can just imagine the family, not daring to breathe, realizing the fight was finally over. Now, they just had to deal with the aftermath. And the change was immediate. And I mean total. The heavy, oppressive feeling in the house, gone. That horrible smell, vanished. Clean, clear water started running from the taps again. And when Patty finally woke up, she was just Patty. She was herself again, totally free. The exorcism had worked. The Donovans were finally safe. But you gotta believe that the memory of what happened in that house stayed with them forever. You know, the Donovan case is such a chilling reminder of cause and effect. A simple act born out of loneliness and curiosity literally opened a door to something that almost tore a family apart. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other forces are out there just beyond what we can see? And are some doors just better left closed for good?